Hey guys, it's Melissa. If you are spending tons of money on custom patterned acrylic sheets, you can actually do it at home or in your craft room, in your studio. Adding one printer is not only going to allow you to make transfers, but you can also print hard surface transfers that can go onto acrylic. You can then make keychains, you can make ornaments, you can make earrings, you can make magnets. The possibilities are endless to allow you to print your own patterned acrylic, and then you can make small pieces, you can make large pieces. I love to put the whole pattern on and then cut out of it. Then I don't even have to worry about where the cut line's going to go. Let me show you exactly how to do this. All right, so here we are. We are going to start in iColor Pro Rip Essentials because, as I said, the key here is our iColor 560. So what we are going to do is start up here by going to import graphic. Now, these are graphics that I already have. These are patterns I already have on my computer. What you can see, I'm going to use one of these, the ghost pattern or the pumpkin pattern. The reason that they say glass can is because these are actually templates for if you were doing sublimation or a UV print on a glass can. It is that size, which is actually perfect, and it's already a pattern, but these work great for this as well. So I'm just going to pick one of these. I'll just pick this pumpkin one. Oh, let's see what the other one is. Okay, so we'll do this pumpkin one, and I'll click OK. And what it's going to do is it's going to ask me, do I want to add it to a workspace or create a new job? In this case, I'm just going to create a new job. And what this is going to do is it's going to bring the pattern in as it's normally sized. Now, because we are cutting really small items, so for earrings, for example, if I was going to cut an earring out of this and the pattern was this size, it is basically going to lose complete pattern. So I want to scale this pretty much down to at least 25-30%. Okay, so to change the size, we are just going to select the image and then we are literally just going to pull it down. Now it's hard to see, but right here it's telling me the size that it is. So right now this is almost 6 inches across. I'm just going to pull it way down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up here. And all I'm going to do then is I'm just going to duplicate it across the page. So you can do this a couple different ways. If you only want a couple, like let's say you only want half of the page or, 3 inches down, you're not making a whole lot of these, then you can do it this way. You can just do right click and clone the graphic and then place the graphic right next to the other one. Okay, so once you have your pattern all set up, again, this is only basically about like 2 inches down by about 8 inches, which is fine. I just want a small piece that I'm going to print on a sheet of acrylic. So there are a couple of other options that you can go through or need to go through. I'm just going to show you the very essentials. So first, on the print settings page, you need to make sure that your print mode is for hard surface underprint. Underprint is going to allow you to have white on the back of your design. This is going to allow you to put the graphic on the back of the acrylic so that it shows through. So you'll click hard surface underprint and then make sure that the toner configuration is also underprint. Now, this is really important, and the one thing that's really great, not one thing, but one of the things that's really great about the iColor 560 is that you can switch the order of the toners. So when you want underprint, though, you want to make sure you're paying attention to this and switch the white and blue. So the blue toner cartridge should be in the front and the white in this case should be in the back. If you were printing t-shirt graphics, they would be the other way around. But for this, you want to make sure that the white is in the back and the blue is in the front. Okay, again, there's a couple of other things that you might need to change. I am going to just show you the bare minimum, and that is that I think that when you're printing on acrylic, especially when it has black in it, you want to increase the white toner coverage. I put it up to about 380. And then color and toner, there's nothing here that you really have to do. These are things that you can fine tune later. And then artwork, you won't really need to go into that. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do, you want to make sure, as I mentioned, that you switch those toners, and then you're going to take a piece of hard surface paper. I always print from the bypass tray. Shiny side should be down. Place it in the bypass tray, and then you're just going to click this button here. And what that is going to do is basically going to rip. then your print will print. It's going to take just a minute. Don't worry about it. Make sure your printer's plugged in. It's going to print, and flip over that page, and you now have your hard surface transfer. This is obviously a different pattern that I printed, but I have made tons of these. So next thing that we're going to do, regardless of which print you're using here, is to go over to the heat press. So here is my piece of acrylic. I've actually already laser cut this down. You only want to use a piece of acrylic that is about the size of your sheet. So I like to keep one of the protective sides still on the acrylic and while I'm heat pressing. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm using a piece of high temperature tape, and we are going to tape the print down. This is just so that it stays in place. We don't get any shadowing or any types of issues like that while pressing. Now, you don't want to tape where you have parts of your design. So I'm just going to trim, but I'm going to leave myself a little bit of margin that I can use to tape. All right, so while you're, once you get this ready, you do need to make sure that your heat press is at 300 degrees for 60 seconds. So I'm using 3mm clear acrylic here. Keep in mind that this is going to press again for 60 seconds here, and it is going to press from the back. So once it's done, what we're gonna do is actually peel off that sheet and leave the press behind. But before we take off the transfer sheet, first of all, if your acrylic gets stuck to the top, don't worry, just pull it down. It is going to be pliable. That's what happens when it heats up, which is why you always see me put something heavy on top of it. Now watch this piece on the left. See how it's warping? So if you don't put something over, if you don't put a heavy piece of material over top that hot acrylic, that is what's going to happen. Not only will it warp your acrylic, but you'll end up with these like kind of wrinkles in your design that you are putting on there with your hard surface paper. So let it cool for, you don't want it to be cold when you peel it off because this is hot peel, but you do want to make sure that the acrylic has time to cool down. You can also take it off the heat press. That probably would have helped me a little bit. Okay, so once it's time, then you are going to take that off of there and you are going to peel from one corner to the other, and the transfer will be left behind on your acrylic. Now again, this is the back that we're seeing. The great thing is it almost looks very much like the front too. So that is how you are going to do full printed patterns on clear acrylic. And then from here, you can now go ahead and laser cut. I use an X-Tool P2. I do peel off the other side before I cut, and I cut from the front, but you could leave that on there while you're cutting and then peel off afterwards. So with this pattern, I did just make some earrings. I also made a cute little keychain, but I love when using the patterns because then I don't have to try to align a cut line, a laser cut line with anything. I just, put the laser cut line in my software where I want it to cut, and it cuts over the pattern. All of the links for everything in the description below. That would be the iColor 560, the acrylic itself, the pattern, the X-Tool P2, everything that you will need to do this. If you have an X-Tool P2 already, adding a iColor 560 is really going to give you a whole lot of options for how to customize. You no longer need to buy patterned acrylic. You can make it yourself. You don't need to sublimate. You have options for white. You don't need a UV printer. There's just a whole lot of really great things, and vice versa. If you already have a iColor 560, adding a CO2 laser like an X-Tool P2 will allow you to really make a lot of cool stuff with acrylic.